The symbolism of churches and church ornaments. To start with, symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. Symbols, a mark or character used as a conventional representation of an object, function, or process. The symbolism of church and church ornaments was written by William Durand. It is the first book of the liturgical treatise, the Rationale Divinorum Officiorum of William Durand of Mende. William Durand was a French canonist, liturgical writer, and bishop of Mende, who analyzed architecture through the lens of religion and symbolism. The symbolism in this book is used to define the structure or idea behind the design of a Gothic church, by figuratively representing all the architectural components, giving them a purpose or a meaning. So let's apply this vision to some of the greatest architectural masterpieces. Hagia Sophia, the biggest church constructed by the East Roman Empire in Istanbul. It was burned down 3 times due to riots. The third Hagia Sophia construction combined 3 traditional basilican plans with a central dome. The structure has 3 nephae, 1 apse and 2 narthex, internal and external. Following Faith Sultan Mehmed's conquer in 1453, Hagia Sophia was renovated into a mosque. The structure was fortified and was well protected after this period, and remained as a mosque. This building is a great example of 2 different religions that were dominating the region at the time, and used the same architecture designed to worship their gods, or God. Considered one of the biggest representations of Islamic architecture to this day, the Great Mosque of Cordoba has a major difference with symbolism of churches, ornaments, and decoration from the Christian architecture. Even after the several renovations throughout time and the addition of a Christian cathedral in the middle, the mosque still kept the essence and architectural elements taken from Islamic architecture, not only to preserve the historical importance of it, but also to keep something that was special and unique in the world. Katal Hayak is one of the earliest known urban developments. The design of Katal stands out due to the small number of roads within the city. People traveled on rooftops of tightly knit structures, entering the houses from the ceiling. Although the religion of Katal is veiled in mystery, it is believed that symbolic female figurines were a major part of their religion. Early settlers valued spirituality and artistic expression and symbolic representation, which manifested themselves through these handheld deities. While religious symbolism was possibly present in these figurines, the architectural elements of the city stem from a gradual, yet continuous, building and rebuilding of homes. This differs from the religious foundation of architectural symbolism found in the reading. El Castillo, the Step Pyramid. The Chichen Itza not just used the temple's elements as religious symbols, but also natural elements. The temple was a place for preaching and sacrifices, a Mayan religious center. There are pools around the pyramid. Water was sacred to them, and it was connected to the afterlife. The pyramid has 9 levels representing afterlife and the 365 stairs representing the days of the year. Durandus reading also refers to nature, such as wind, rain, as being hurtful, and uses windows to represent holy scriptures, which protects the church from them, and sun representing God, which is allowed in the church throughout the windows. The Ise shrines are a series of religious structures located in Japan. These structures date back to the 7th century and are associated with the Shinto religion. Ise is a great example of architecture devoid of unnecessary ornament, which is evident within Japanese culture. At the Ise shrines, there is a rebuilding process of 3 of their main structures, which happens every 20 years and is from the same locally sourced materials, each rebuilding. There are two main shrines, which are at two separate locations, but also many smaller shrines. All the shrines exhibit simple building techniques, heavy with symbolism but lack complex ornamentation of many religious structures in the West. This gives the worshipper a deeper understanding of oneself and a connection to nature. The Ernest Stave Church isn't just a conventional example of a church. It doesn't have the same colorful glass windows and elaborate architecture, but it does have unique Viking style carvings as a substitute. Even though these carvings are different from glass windows and aren't what the article describes as holy scriptures, they are still culturally significant because they show the link between Nordic culture and Christianity. Besides the obvious artistic differences, this stave church has a clear Romanesque basilica layout and follows the general structure of a church. It has staves and posts that are the equivalent of piers, which symbolize bishops and doctors. Its doors, while not as appealing as doors of countless other churches, serves the same purpose as any other church door and is still a symbol of Christ. The humble pavement of the stave church fits Durandus's idea of the pavement being a symbol of the poor of Christ. And also, the beams in the church can clearly be linked to the idea of beams being the princes and preachers that keep the church unified. The Erechtheion is an ancient Greek temple dedicated to Athena and Poseidon. The shape of the Erechtheion is not typical for an ancient Greek temple. The complexity of Erechtheion design results from diverse sacred spots, rituals, and traditions, as well as the topographical variety of its location. By analyzing what was included and what was excluded, we can tell which elements of ancient Greek temples were crucial for religious and symbolic point of views. At the same time, we have an opportunity to observe in which ways architecture is celebrating truly unique and symbolic sites. These include the marks of Poseidon's trident, the saltwater well, the sacred olive tree, and many others. The footprint of the temple breaks all possible rules. However, we can see a union of two temples symbolizing a meeting point of two gods, pediments, which are ones of the most important attributes of Greek temples are present. It must be noted that there are 3 of them instead of 2. The part of the temple dedicated to Athena, who defeated Poseidon, has 2 pediments, while Poseidon symbolically praised with just 1. 6 maidens supporting the roof of the splendid porch facing the Parthenon symbolizes another ancient myth. The face of the ruins of the former temple are destroyed by the people of Caria and symbolize of the women of the state carried into slave labor later on. Basilica Oltea. Nowadays, a basilica is usually considered to be a church, but back in Roman days, it was more of a government hall. In the Greek word basilica, it literally translates to king's hall. Dated at 100 BC, the basilica in Pompeii is the oldest known basilica, though it is not the first one. Looking at the plan, it shows that the basilica only consists of one hall. In that hall, legal activities and social and commercial functions were held. Also, the section shows the shape, which inspired mostly all future churches. Symbolism is more common for small scale. It's also essential for ornaments and certain building elements, but it barely exists in case of urban scale. Nature and nature motifs can also be considered as origins of various symbols in architecture. Symbols in architecture can be both similar and different when it comes to various religions. It almost never happens that every single architectural element in a building has a deep symbolic meaning, but a certain symbol in architecture can be a rule as well as a special case.